Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. How are you guys doing?
How are you guys? It's great to see everybody. And there's Miss Karma Doc and Danny and Rose War and Calvin. Hi.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. We got a lot of family members here. And, just for a word for the mods out there, if there's any dark forces, we just have to cut it out. Because, we can't tolerate negativity of that sort, and there are so many out there right now that are trying to pull us down. That's one of the biggest messages that we are getting is beware of those that are trying to pull down your vibe. That is the biggest thing that's going on here right now with everything we're seeing around the globe. All this, it's all about fear and programming dissent, putting us against each other. So good to see you, Karma Doc. Good to see you, Mary Davidson. As always, up with trees. So nice to meet you. Like that as well. Danny Lovett. Good to see you. Dark Universe. Good to see you, Joanne.
Great to see you guys. It's filling up really, really nice. And we got some really nice information for some really nice people.
Most definitely. And we got Rose War in the house. Miss Dragon. Miss Dragon's been with us since a long time, I know. Up there in Washington State. And we have Julio with us, as well as Cliff. Good to see you, brother. Nicole, we love you as well. And thank you, Greta. Thank you, Greta, for your support. And it's good to see you here, as well as Bethany the Pale One Kent. And you haven't missed anything yet, just greetings. Jeff Blackhurst in the house as well. Lucina. Of course, Brother Ray. Crystal Core. We love you, sister, as well. Rizar. Good to see you, brother. Lexi San Diego. DG57. DG57.
It's great to see you guys. Everybody's just filling right in. And it's just looking wonderful in there. Nice high vibe. I love to see that. It really truly makes my day. It totally helps when you guys come in and you're just super awesome. It helps a lot.
Susan Donahue, we love you and appreciate you as well. Much love. Robert Johnson, another one in Washington State. Hey, up there. South Africa. Robin's from South Africa. That's awesome. I hope everything is well over there as well.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff going on, you guys. Lots of stuff.
And Dan, go ahead and comment. It's good to see you. Oh, yeah, Nuke is filming the NASA launch. Yeah, he was telling us that last night. Ice Pike, good here as well. Dan says, I was watching fireballs come apart in the sky while I watched the comet the other day in central Michigan, right off the US 10 highway. There's a lot. There is a lot that's going to be probably incoming. So that was part of the message, and we're going to play it. It's in two parts. There was like a personal message that I had to stop the recording and then go back and re-record. And so, we did get some info. It's been a wild ride. How many of you guys wake up every night at 2:30 or 2:30 to 3 a.m.? Because that's happening to me like every single night. Akasha Nicole, good to see you, sister. Karen Lynn, David, Randy.
It's wonderful to see you guys. And Miss Crystal Core, I'm glad that you are feeling a lot better. And there's Joe, and we have Matt and Miss Nicole. It's great to see everybody.
Sailor Spirit, good to see you as well. Carmen and Serena. Rizar's been getting attacked. A lot of people have been getting attacked. Draw down that light and ask for help from above because you'll get it. You really do. You have to ask. Renee, good to see you as well.
Yeah, you don't ask, you don't get. And that's like one of those lessons we learn in life is, like, how can I do this? Oh, I can't say her name. Raina. Thank you so much, Raina. Thank you.
And Queen Star had a disturbing remote viewing last night. And feel free to share as well. Kimberly, we're glad that you are here. And Gary, good to see you as always. Rosanna, thank you for coming. Much love as well. Ad Astra per Aspera. Greetings from Kansas. And Mouse made it. Awesome. Jennifer Oxley made it too.
That's wonderful, you guys. And we got Ray, and it's filling right up, and it feels really good. It feels really good, the vibe today. Yeah.
Moonlight Herbalist, glad you made it as well to a live. It's always fun when we do the lives. Mm-hmm. And Caro, good to see you. So, yeah, lots of things going on. Obviously, the dark side's trying to keep us in fear. That's how they do it. And we are going through Ascension. Good to see you, Scott and Ralph and Skywatcher, Stargaze. The Ascension process is speeding up, and it's been just an amazing few weeks, really. I mean, everything is just speeding up so much. One of the things that's so imperative for everybody is to just go within. You got to do that inner work right now. We have to really take care of ourselves in every way. And so far, we just did our mantras and meditation today. We still have to do full QiGong, and we still have to get a good 45-minute workout in. Although I have some bread sitting and rising as we speak. And also, any of you guys like Indian food? We're making samosas. And we're going to make some cilantro chutney, which cilantro is a great heavy metal detoxifier. So I'll use a whole head of it and put it basically in with lemon juice, a little olive oil, some garlic, some curry, blend it up. Makes a great chutney. It's delicious.
And it's really good for you too, like to cook like that and practice with some alchemy. It's really good for the soul, and that's really important right now.
I think we had a Bulletproof Monk sighting. I hope everything is going great with you up there as well. Good to see you. QiGong, much needed. Yeah, it's imperative. And actually, we got that message from the guides that QiGong is one of the very best things you could do in this time, because it's going to help smooth out your energy, and it's going to really help with the ascension process. QiGong is just a must for a daily basis.
Well, and your diet too. Our diet is so important. I think it's like critical, and they don't. Well, a good diet's not pushed in this country. I'll just say that.
Cilantro watermelon juice. Yeah, I mean, I love watermelon too. So yeah, I'm down with that. I love Indian food. The house smells like Indian right now. The bread is rosemary and garlic, and then the Indian food. It's going to be a hair spicy, but man, I love the smell of the curry.
It's so yummy. It's so good. I mean, and it's good for the soul too when you cook your own food. And, hopefully if you got your gardens going, you can get your own vegetables too. That really puts you in a good high vibe.
So, one of the main challenges for us in these times is to fight against the division that they're trying to create. And that's how they've kept us always at odds with each other. I'll just share with you, we have many people of many different backgrounds in this family, of many different religions, and some that are not religious at all, just spiritual. And I was looking on one of the news sites, and there was a thread started by somebody that was talking about pre-trib rapture, and do you believe in pre-trib rapture? And if so, it can't be legit because it appears that we're in the tribulation. So for all those people that were looking for a pre-trib rapture, are you disappointed? And that's basically what the person was talking about. And again, the message is not dogma, because we have to understand that dogma is totally man-made, and it's really about our vibrations. It's about what's in the heart. Again, the kingdom of heaven lies within. It has to be cultivated, and it's non-denominational. So one of the challenges is to get past all this division and to recognize there's good that can be found in all traditions, and there's this common core as well. And that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much, Cliff. He says, no fear, lots of love. Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate you. And that's the big challenge right now, because we have to recognize that when we're coming out of a loving place and we really want the best for the planet, and we're coming from a place of service to others, then we're on the same side. And it's not as we've been brought up with, because we've been living in this prison planet of sorts where it's controlled by these darker entities. Again, we could look to the Tower of Babel. They can't have us united because there's no telling what good we could do, right? So they want to have us divided by dogma, divided by any way we can, politics as well. So we have to get past that, and we will get past that, because that's what's coming. And then we are going to have to rebuild this whole thing, because it is going to be, it's just like the phoenix. We have to be reborn. From the ashes, there will be a new world that comes about.
There will. And, we need to learn from this, learn as much as we possibly can, and understand, go easy on yourself, because we've been raised in a society that has hardwired us to think and feel and behave in certain ways. And a lot of that is just basically to keep us controlling each other.
Yeah, it is kind of an art of war tactic, most definitely. It's very Machiavellian. Divide and conquer. Keep them divided, and they're easy to conquer. But we must not also fall into, just the negativity, the warlike atmosphere, because, war is on the agenda. We know that. And being that if it really was the beginning of the tribulation, with either the September sign back in 2017, the sign of the woman, right? Or if it was even starting with the eclipse, the 2017 eclipse, then we are in it. And chances are we're going to stay in it. So instead of hoping to be pulled from it, we have to send our vibrations to raise the collectives up and out of it. That's the bottom line. We talked about V for Vendetta. If you look at that movie at the end, what happens? Everybody is wearing a mask. Wow, we're all wearing masks now, aren't we? We're being made to wear masks. But in the movie, it becomes a good thing, because it becomes like a unifier. And ultimately, it's the numbers of the people that overwhelm the system, even without really a fight, because the dark side knows it's beaten. And if we got all the soldiers of the world to just lay down their arms, there you go. And we could start to focus on rebuilding now. And as I've said before, think about the money that's spent on military in this planet. It's insane. If we put the same amount of effort into solving food problems, solving, earth change problems, we would have it would be just so easy. It would be so easy to progress and to start to transform into that new age, that new era that is to come. But yet, they understand that. So again, they use our fear to always say, look at what your neighbor's doing. Oh, I think he wants yours. He wants what is yours. Look at Armenia and Azerbaijan right now. And Egypt just voted to go and get involved in the Libyan conflict. And so, these tiny little wars are going to just blow up into the bigger wars, because they're being manipulated to do just that. The beautiful news is, honestly, I think that we're only just a little bit away from having enough of the Ascension process go by where we wouldn't really even need so many of these industries, such as the PHARMA, for instance, because we're going to be able to just manifest healing in ourselves through intent and vibration and healthy living alone. And that is a big way in which we are controlled. And so all their methods of control are going to be falling apart. And that is why they're pushing harder than ever to keep us in fear and terror and keep us fighting each other.
Yeah, it's very important for them. I mean, really, they're getting to the place where they have nothing to lose, and that's why it's so important that we recognize that they're going to try anything and everything that they can. And if you're an awake one, you can see it, and if you're not, well, you just see what the media is telling you, and you just see what the most of the population is doing. But there's so many things going on between the lines. It's about reading between those lines, picking up on those vibrations, and we're all getting so sensitive to energies. And I honestly feel that one of their things that they're using against us is our own technology. I feel they're using that to interrupt our energy fields too.
And so many people don't have a complete understanding because they're only indoctrinated in one line of belief, and they haven't discovered the rest of the world. They haven't discovered, what other people believe, why they believe, and they haven't really had that inner feeling of love and peace and contentment that comes from when you're vibrating at that right spot where you truly are in service to others. And so, again, it's part of the division and the tactics that they use. So, the fundamentalist mindset is fundamentally flawed. As soon as we think that we have, all the answers in just one little, one tiny little Reader's Digest, book, so to speak, then we're wrong, because the truths have been given to people all over. They're just even the concept of a chosen people, it's completely ego-based. Why would the source of everything just choose one tiny little tribe? Because it's not about that. But that's being totally ego-based, and that plays to a lot of the world, unfortunately. And Kimberly had said that money is the root of all evil. Yes, it is. Without a doubt, because it's written you cannot serve both God and money. So which are you going to choose? Who are you going to trust in? Trust in the Babylonian money matrix, that we are in? Really, draconian slave matrix is what it is. We will not have that type of system in a golden age because people are going to be working together for the better of all. Just like with the fact that we have Darwinian evolution, which is sold to us, survival of the fittest, by a 33rd degree Mason who's in with the secret societies, part of the system. That's not really the case, because those that work together ensure the survival of the whole. And so we've been just conditioned to work against each other, to compete with each other instead of, together working towards creating a better reality, a better manifestation of, a good plan on this earth. So yeah, we're controlled through greed, we're controlled through ego, we're controlled through indoctrination into different fundamentalist mindsets, and that goes politically as well. So we can reset it, as Talak 88 says. We can reset it, we can reset everything. Well, see, James says, okay, the love of money. Yeah, but what do we value higher is the question. Or how much time are we spending trying to better the earth, and how much time are we just trying to spend, bettering ourselves and our own personal lot? So, again, it's the monetary system that keeps us locked into this slave-based matrix as well, and it needs to change. And Taylor News brings up compass points, and it seems that things have been changing there as well for quite a while. So one of the things that hits me is that there are the forces of good which are in service to others and really trying to manifest that which the true creative source of the universe wants, which is basically love and compassion. But it is a free will, universe, multiverse that we live in.
It's very, very free, and they kind of use that against us too. They put us in situations that are kind of sticky, and they put us in a place where we might make a less than perfect decision. You know, when it does come to the money is an energy, and I know we need to transition off of it. And I think the middle ground to transition off of that is to look at it like an energy, treat it like an energy. Maybe that would help move it a little, because there is going to have to be some kind of a middle ground when it comes to money and no money. There's got to be a transition, just like there is a transition onto it. There's got to be a transition off. And I think viewing it as an energy is a kind of a good idea, I think.
Yeah, see, the way the banking system is, and not to get off topic, but the way the banking system is set up, it's perfectly set up for middlemen and, for those to accumulate great forms of wealth. And so, there will be new systems that come into play, and I think of Michael Tellinger's Ubuntu, which is contributionism, which is everybody basically contributing in what they have a passion for and what they do well and what they want to do. That's a beautiful thing. And so let's get into some of what we got a message from. So we have 2 different recordings we're going to play, and we got these today. And the first one, well, they're both from Laurel, who is a Pleiadian and part of the Galactic Federation. And we've been in contact with her for months now. We haven't gotten too many longer messages. Most of the messages I've gotten has been when Cindy's been kind of asleep and, channeling in her sleep. And this one is about what's coming. And so we know, we've been warned before that we're in for quite a ride the second half of this year. They have quite a roller coaster planned for us. And we could see what, the writing is on the wall. Like today, for instance, the first thing I read was about Pelosi saying that they're going to have to fumigate Trump out of office when he loses the election. And then the second thing that popped up was a statement by President Trump that he would not necessarily accept the election results as legitimate. So you could see what's coming. It's pretty easy to see what's coming. And this is going to be how they are going to create the civil war that they want to manifest. That is part of the plan before the end of the year, is a full-blown civil war with, different states leaving the Union. And, I've done videos on this 3 years ago saying that this is what is planned. I've seen it actually, going back to 1984 is when I first got these messages about, not only the Civil War, but also of what's to come with foreign troops on the United States soil. And then I've also seen the sky full of something. And I just remember the feeling of, how all of a sudden you get that knot in the pit of your stomach when you're hit with that oh crap moment. Well, that's what it was like. And that was in 1984 as well. That's when all these things first started coming through to me. And so this is Cindy channeling Laurel. Do we have a connection?
Laurel is waiting to talk to you. Let me get her. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Laurel. It's good to talk to you. It's been a little while.
We're putting minimal pressure on the channel's heart. So our messages may be few and far between. We'll try to keep them to the point. We're watching humanity unfold right now. We want to express to the human population, now is a time of setting examples. It is extremely important to know that we are creating a new civilization, a new world. And how you treat your fellow human being truly matters. Maybe you are a healer. Maybe you're healing. Maybe you have been healed. These are the things that are going to take front stage in humanity and how we heal each other now. By doing so, we can help the planet ascend. If you want mercy, be merciful. If you want love and forgiveness, give love and forgiveness. These are the things that humanity needs to focus on. There is much going on to create chaos and hate, short tempers, short fuses, creating people to fight and hiss. We just want to redirect you to your heart. Michael, I have personal information for you.
All right, I am taping this right now. Should I pause it?
We think so.
Okay. So that was the first part, and then we'll go to the second part here.
Things are going to change. There will be meteor showers. Things will look scary. But do not be afraid. Don't let them lock you down in the lower vibrations. This is their whole goal. And as long as we know what their goal is, we can be sure that they don't get what they're aiming for.
These meteor showers, will these meteor showers be caused by them? Will they manufacture these meteor showers, or is there a natural explanation?
It's a little bit difficult to explain. We are going through a place where there are a lot of debris. Earth will see a lot of what you would call meteors. These are more like rocks being thrown from the gods. A war.
A war between the forces of the Draco and the Pleiadians and the Galactic Federation?
A war between them, indeed, and higher. As above, so below. We are warring here on Earth. They are warring in space. Our goal is to keep our vibration high. To avoid these horrible timelines, we need to continue to move up and out of the way of these events. Humanity hasn't made this in the past. Humanity was not able to raise their vibration in the past like you're able to raise it now. The timelines look very good for avoiding this.
We have talked about the civil war that's planned, and we've talked about the world war that's planned. Do you anticipate the meteor, or whatever this debris field is, these objects to hit before that, or after that, or during?
When people are under the most distress, this is when these things happen. So it looks like things will happen during the time of war. When people are in disarray, this is when they put everything on you to help lower your vibration.
Yes, we understand that. So, again, we should prepare as best as we can, and we should not be pulled into lower vibrational activities and the fear.
Keep raising up to the higher levels. Keep doing this. This is so important to humanity. Some people may take this message for granted, but this is the most important message we can impart to you.
Okay, we will wake her now. And then she started to get discomfort again. So, yeah, there are going to be things incoming. September is what we are feeling, is when, these incoming things are going to be arriving. It does go with so much that we're seeing. A lot of people are getting this message, and like we were talking about Steve Benoon before over at Israeli News Live, and he has a couple of sources that were telling him that. Laurel was confirming that, but we've also gotten the message going back a couple of years ago from Asia, channeling Archangel Michael, that it was going to be September of this year that we're going to see a lot of stuff hitting the fan. It's all concurrent, so it definitely goes to a new level in September, and so thus we should be doing whatever we can to prepare spiritually as well as emotionally, physically, and really pulling together as much as possible. I think there's going to be a lot of people coming together in groups, and that's a good thing. Reach out to each other, form your own little groups, support each other, and start to get ready not only for what's coming, but for rebuilding, because we will be needed to rebuild. That's what the light workers are really here for. We're here to help people get through these times, but also to start rebuilding after all this has passed, and we're starting to pull together. There's always going to be a remnant, and that's already starting to happen in so many places. I know of many people that are pulling together, and not only did we get that from Laurel, but we've also had visitation from the angelic realm. And last night was another. I woke up at 2:30 and just felt like I got to go do mantras or meditate or something. I just feel like I got to do QiGong or do mantras. And then there was, basically an angelic being that came in. And again, this war does go all the way up to the angelic realms. So it truly is. It's the war in heaven that's been written about. The misunderstanding is just thinking that there's only one dogma that's right, because it's not the case. It's wherever your heart is and your vibrations. You don't have to say any particular words. You don't have to believe in any particular dogma. You just have to have that love in your heart and that desire for the betterment of all life.
Yeah, very, very important to keep your mind open to change, keep your mind open to different ways of doing things. There's a lot of practices out there, spiritual practices, and you don't need to find just one and stick with just one. What I did is I studied many, and then I took from what I liked most and I incorporated it into something that works for me. And I think we're all supposed to do that, and we're all supposed to help each other heal and just be good to each other and understand that we've been in a place where they've really hardwired us to be a certain way and recognize that. So that's probably going to be the hardest thing, is to break up like the societal norms, but I feel it's going to be necessary. But to do that, we have to set our own example. We have to be an example. And we got really good times coming up. They're going to be interesting, and it's an opportunity for growth.
So Miss Dragon said, I heard the message say that we can change the timelines. We can be together and raise vibration and not have civil war, ? I think what she was saying, and Cindy could see if see the problem is with Cindy, when she channels like this, she doesn't usually remember any of it. That's the problem. Sometimes, like if she's channeling her higher self, she could remember some, but usually like when Laurel comes through, she doesn't remember anything. But then there's times when she gets direct downloads from them. And what's interesting too is there's a different type of connection with the Galactic Federation. It's a technological connection of sorts, because Laurel actually puts on like a helmet. She has a helmet device on which helps her communicate to Cindy, and that's kind of interesting because it's not the same when we're talking to the angelic realm. So what I got was that in the past, as a whole, when we've had a chance to ascend up and out of this 3 and 4D loop, we haven't been able to do that. And now there's the chance to ascend more to the 5D for many individuals. It won't be everybody that is able to ascend to the 5D. Those that can't ascend to the 5D are going to be still kind of stuck in that karmic loop of 3 and 4D, just going back to the astral, coming back down into a 3D existence, if not on this earth, but then on another planet that's of a 3D nature.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people want the answers. They want the answers to be given to them, but we are all on a timeline and we all have the ability to change it. So it's impossible to give, direct answers to any one given thing when you're talking about humanity. And maybe that disappoints some people, but that's just kind of how it goes. The information you get is what you get, and it's for your highest good. And you have to hold that attitude and understand that things are like that. And then, whatever you can get out of it that's positive, that part's for you.
And so, last night when we had the angelic visitation, which is not the first time, I was going through some mantras and we were gauging the reaction of our visitor. And it was very interesting because, the visitor that we have is an aspect of Archangel Gabriel, which has been with me through different incarnations. And Cindy could gauge the reaction as well as the energy of the different mantras creating. So basically, I went through a bunch of different ones, including some in Hebrew and saying different Hebrew names and words of power, as well as Gnostic and as well as Hindu. And so, the interesting aspect of it is that all those were good to the angelic visitor. So it's not like the deities from a different religion are fighting against the deities from another religion. So when you're on the side of light and love, you're simply on the side of light and love and unity, and truly serving, the prime creator, the true God with the big G. Or you're, on that other side or a mixture thereof and confused and in the middle as the vast majority find themselves. Yes, there are very, very dark entities out there that are so anti-love, anti-light. And so, Tony says New Age equals devil, and that's really just ignorance, pure ignorance. That's just misunderstanding. But that's the indoctrination, and that's because he hasn't looked deeper, and that's because he probably hasn't had that direct experience himself with the benevolent forces. But so that's exactly the type of thinking that causes the disharmony that we see, and feeling that anybody's beliefs but my dogma is wrong. And so that's really falling totally into the dark side's the construct. That's the matrix that they give us. As Kim Rizzo says, that's right. Like Jesus, Kuan Yin, Buddha, they're all enlightened beings. Totally. And they're all on the same side. And unfortunately, Tony thinks he's doing the right thing, but in reality, he's serving the dark side because he's creating division, and he's part of that division. And so at this point in time, really we can't take any more division. So, we are going to be breaking up into groups. That's just how it is. And, that's part of what's to come. There will be more like in tribes in the future coming together.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that. And it's going to take a whole lot of tolerance too, because we're all different. We all have different needs, wants, desires, and belief systems. So it's going to take a certain level of tolerance and acceptance and love and, a lot of learning. I really feel like this next phase we're stepping into, if we can all be open to learning something from one another and our belief systems and our ways, I think we'll do really, really well.
Yeah, there is tolerance, as Nicole is trying to be tolerant, but at the same time, we can't allow ourselves to be totally sidelined and taken off track. And we've talked about this so many times. I think that we've done about 2,300 videos, 2,400 videos, and it's really about going past that, because again, just if you're just of the mindset that it's all a Democratic thing, it's a Democratic problem, all the Republicans are fine, then you're ignoring the fact of PNAC, Project for a New American Century, the Bush cabal, Bush and Cheney and Wolfowitz and all those guys that really talked about the need for a new 9/11, well, a new Pearl Harbor, and then we had 9/11. Both sides are in on the plan. So we have to recognize that. And when you have complete intolerance from one religious point of view, there can't be peace. When there's that type of intolerance, it's just impossible. If you believe that your dogma is the only correct dogma, there's never going to be any coming together. And so, what can you do with it? We could just hope that people realize the bigger picture in time. Christ himself said there's going to be a lot of people that call on him and say, Lord, Lord, we did this for you, we did that for you. And he's going to say, I never knew you, because you didn't have the love in your heart. You were condemning others and telling others they're going to hell and they're serving demons. And you just didn't get it. The big picture, the truly being born again is when all of a sudden it's the ego that is conquered. And the bigger purpose, it becomes the obvious and clear picture. It's about developing unity consciousness and working together and not condemning each other.
Definitely not condemning each other. And I know for some people, they might just be starting out on this path. And it's a beautiful thing that at least you're starting out on this path. And for some people, it might just be too difficult right now to put down your belief system, because some people, their belief system is like their blanket. That's their security. That's their everything. That's what they know. That's what's always worked in the past. And believe me, I go through this too. I fight with my own demons quite often, actually. And it's all a learning process. And, I make the most progress when I'm open to learning. That's the most important place to be in your mind is, hey, what can I glean from this? Where can this take me? Put on your wonder hat and just get curious about stuff. Ask yourself, I wonder if I felt this way about that, how would things turn out? And just get curious, and that opens you up to all kinds of beautiful possibilities that are out there. And some people, maybe they're not there, and that's okay too. You're not supposed to be there. I think the thing is also acceptance. That's a really big deal. That's super important that you find acceptance in whatever you're struggling with.
So we had the comment out there that, I'm with you and I understand some, but, obviously Trump's doing something that's, getting the deep state mad. To me, I think we have to look at, guys, it's a WWF. That's what it is. WWE, WWF. This is all, it's a stage. It's a stage. And, there was a lot of people that believed it was actually real for a very, very long time, when it's always been scripted. Always been scripted. There was a great video done, and I did a video on it when back in 2017. and I think it's going to be almost impossible to find it again. It was called, I think, the Trump heel effect, and it just showed how much it's still part of the stage. So they're trying to get us to believe it's real, and that, this whole thing, there's 10 million sealed indictments now. It's we almost got the first 4 years completed, and where are they? Yeah, there's been Epstein. Yeah, there's been a few things that came out. They're gonna come out. This is the apocalypse in that sense of the great unveiling. They're gonna come, but at the same time, make no mistakes about it. This is all part of a bigger picture, and even if his intentions were pure, he really doesn't have any power himself. He really doesn't. It's these Illuminati families under the power of what you could call demonic forces, extraterrestrial or interdimensional, all the above. They're the ones that really have had the power, though it is cracking, and the light forces are pushing harder than ever now.
Yes, they are. I mean, they really want to win, and they have this thing in mind that we're going to follow this narrative, and they've put the narrative out in front of us in hopes that we'll take the carrots all the way to where they want us to be, but that's where we have to stop and think for ourselves and take back our power. Go through whatever healing that you need to do so you can take these steps forward. Every time you are able to resolve something within yourself or do your shadow work, you're one step closer to that unity that is so beautiful that we all seek, but some people are going to have a harder time than others, and that's okay too. That's part of your path. There's something about those who have gone through a whole lot of tribulation. In the end, they can help a whole lot of people.
And when we look to the Vedas and the Puranas, a lot of the Hindu holy scriptures, they talk very much about these wars of the gods that occurred right over our heads, as well as other peoples as well. We talked about the Hopi. They were led down into safety by the ant people, which translates to Anunnaki as well, coincidentally. And when we look at Anunnaki, that just basically was like saying people that aren't from here, basically, because there's all different types. As we see, we have Arcturians and we have Pleiadians as well. The Pleiadians are very much like us, and it's very, very interesting when we see, like, Krishna, for instance. Krishna didn't come from here either, and according to the legends, he left. And, he went elsewhere. So there's these beings. There are benevolent beings that come, like Mother Shipton's prophecy. After everything's all said and done, silver ships land, and benevolent beings, not like man, come out and help set things straight. And so the benevolent ones, again, they won't infringe on our free will. And, whether it's Ganesha and Lakshmi, Shiva, other ones, of course, as well, the Buddha himself. So Buddha went to a totally different level and, achieved enlightenment. And that's basically self-realization, realizing again that God is within all of us. And then we have Babaji, who is another one that's supposedly on the planet still, as is Hanuman. And we had talked about that before. These ascended masters, for instance, and Adama at Telos. And Cindy said that this was probably the closest to what the angel looked like that was working on us last night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was like between that, or he was an aspect of Gabriel, and it's something that I haven't seen. And that was really curious. He came in to play with our energy, which was fun, but it was really kind of strange because the information I got from him, I feel I gleaned that from his energy. It's not like he was talking directly to us. I don't even know if he knew that I knew he was there. It was really, really interesting.
Yeah, and she just said that he was really curious about our energy because our energy was very unusual, and stood out. So he was just kind of gauging our energy, and then I was just rolling through different mantras. and checking his reaction. And so I did mantras to Ganesha and Shiva, to Narayanaya, which is an aspect of, well, it's kind of like, in some circles, it's a higher aspect of Vishnu. In some, it's not a higher aspect of Vishnu, but still an aspect of Vishnu. And as well as doing things such as Yehoshua and pulling out, the Judaic words of power as well, which was so interesting. The Hebrew words of power, I should say, and gauging the reaction and positive to all of it. Now, these beings are not positive, and so whether we want to call this Satan or the Draco or a reptilian, interdimensional, extraterrestrial being, this is really this is really Satan. This is the enemy of mankind and the enemy of the light. And, not to say that necessarily, there are some reptilians that are maybe not so malevolent, just as with humans, not all humans are good, not all humans are bad. We're a mixture, and it depends on, like the Indian story, the Native American story of two wolves. Which one are you going to feed? Where are you going to put your energy? Where are you going to put your intent? And of course, they have other helpers that help them in their endeavors. And so, obviously in days of old, we called all these things demons. And then there are these guys as well. I'm not sure if Raven's in the house. I know he's seen these. I have too. Multiple occasions. I actually got a photograph of one somewhere. I'll try to dig it up for you guys. So these are like golems, or would we say these are thought forms that the Draco create in order to terrorize us, and they will send them over to do just that, to terrorize us, to scare us, so that they feed off of us, these shadow beings. These are also, creations of the Draco in many cases. And then there are also all sorts of astral beings that are just like ticks and leeches and like those nasty green worms that got most of our tomato plants. Just parasites. They're parasitic. And so as above, so below. We have parasites on Earth. We have viruses, we have bacteria. There's more bacteria in our microbiome, that which is living within our bodies, than there is cells in our body of our own. And yet, with most of these bacteria, they're mostly beneficial. So they're not all malevolent. And what we get from the Galactic Federation is there's definitely more of the good guys than the bad guys. It's just the bad guys have been controlling our particular quadrant in the galaxy and our particular density, but we can overcome.
And it's also important to remember that our thoughts are things, and that goes on up the ladder. So if you're a being that holds a lot of power and you have certain thoughts, this is what can happen. These thoughts can go out there and they can do damage. And even as we are right now, thoughts are things. We need to try to keep that in mind and control those thoughts, because they are waves of energy and they do go out and they create change. And it's what kind of change do you want for yourself? Do you want positive change? Keep your thoughts positive. Always shoot for the higher rung. Always, always, always.
Most definitely. And so recognize also, like, was it Calvin? Calvin was talking about an elemental being. Like, the elemental beings, they're good. They're wonderful. And they're adorable most of the time. Things such as gnomes and sylphs and sprites and, so many other undines. There's so many other types of elementals out there that their whole thing is they are there to nurture the physical reality. And they are nurturers. And so every one of us has elemental beings attached to us to balance our bodies, to balance the energies of our bodies. We're a mix of earth, air, fire, and water, which comes down from spirit to create this vehicle for us so we could have this, 3D, 4D experience here. So most of them are good. And when you look at the angelic realm is tied to the elemental realm. It's part of the elemental realm. They're all here to just maintain order, to carry out the wishes of the one true creator, which is that, life gets to explore creation in all different densities. Unfortunately, because it is free will, we also have these selfish beings like the ones that have been controlling our reality. And they are real. They really are real. I mean, it's just a matter of, in the old days, you had certain terms. Now we could kind of have a little bit more definitive labels, perhaps, for these beings. And recognize, too, that there's a multitude of different types out there. But ultimately, most of them are positive. But, again, it only takes a couple bullies, to kind of... look back in school. If you look back to school, were there any bullies? I mean, I experienced it. It affected my reality tremendously. It was probably set up maybe even by these dark forces to have a group of bullies constantly picking on me and, ganging up on me, like 5 or 6 of them in a circle, and just push you around. Until I got to the point where, I asked my mother and my father, do you guys mind if I take karate? Can I buy some weights and a heavy bag? And, pushed me down that path. And then, when they did circle me, the leader went and he hit me, and I hit him back, and I decked him. And then we got into a big fight, and then nobody messed with me anymore. It just changed. Sometimes we do have to stand up for ourselves. We really, really do. But recognize this is a spiritual war, really. It is a multi-dimensional war. It's an intergalactic war. This is big. We're at one outpost here. And, but yet we have to do all we can to manifest positive change here.
That's the fair thing to do. If you have the capability and ability to do so, then you do your very best. A lot of us are at different spots in the road. I mean, some of us are good at sticking up for ourselves and others, and then others of us are not very good at that, and we just try to avoid trouble if we see it and try to turn it, deflect it. There's a lot of different ways things can be done, but what's most important is that it's done in a positive way. At least at your very core, we all know what we're doing to other people. We understand, we are the boss of that intent, and it's just a matter of really looking at that intent closely and saying, okay, is this in high alignment? Is this the right thing? Is this truly the way this should be handled? And your inner self knows, your higher self knows.
And lots of love going out there. I see a lot of love between Scratch and Nicole, and it's beautiful. Keep supporting each other out there. So it's really interesting to look at the law of one as well, because here we're sitting on 3D, 4D plane, although we are changing right now and moving upwards. So you wonder, well, is it all peaches and cream on 5D? But then we're told that the draconians and service to self still exist in 5D as well. So it's still there. And then 6D, we start seeing really that collective happen, where we start, like Ra themselves, we should say, is a collective of a planet that has ascended, so to speak. So at that point, then we start really heading into true unity consciousness. So, our next step really is for a 5D type of existence, which is still going to have its challenges. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be way, way better than what we have. And the legends all say that mankind at one time lived 1,000 years, perhaps even more. If you look at the Sumerian kings list, you got kings ruling for tens of thousands of years. And perhaps they did have more of certain non-terrestrial bloodlines in them. But still, there's legends too. When we go back and look at Chinese mythology, one time man could fly like the gods did and had all the attributes of the gods before he was brought down into this state. And again, we've talked about the DNA evidence as well that we've been tampered with. And the majority of our DNA has been, quote unquote, junk, inactive, but that's all changing. We're coming online. And when we see, the legends of the demigods, when we see, people like Hercules or Samson and so many others, Jason and the Argonauts, if you remember from these mythologies, I think we're heading to a place where people are going to have what we would view as superhuman abilities. And that's coming now. I mean, that's coming online. There are people that can do amazing things right now, amazing healing and amazing other things as well. So that's part of the future. And also when we look at it, like if we are good at lucid dreaming and taking control of our dream, if it's heading in the wrong direction, we could change that. And we could say, no, we're not going down this route. And that's going to be the pliability of our reality that we're moving into, which is a beautiful thing.
Pliability is a beautiful thing, but to get it, you have to be that pliable. So it's really interesting what we're fixing to walk into, and there's just definitely going to be some change and some things we have to figure out for ourselves. But that's the beauty of living. We've been given this gift of life so we can walk through it and figure things out for ourselves, and that's rewarding when you can walk through your struggles and get through it. And that's really important for human growth, really important for vibration too.
And I'm not sure if we shared it with you before, but just to give you, for instance, one of our family members, EEA family members here, has battled MS for a long time and been in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, taking a lot of heavy meds. And, after we had a session with him, he was able to get off more than half his meds just after one session. And it feels better than he had in, what did he say?
Oh, years and years. I mean, he just felt wonderful. It's such a relief to him to be able to breathe easy, feel good. So it relieved a lot of physical pain and emotional.
And that's gorgeous. And that's happened so many times. We are all going to become amazing in some ways. Many of us are going to be tremendous healers. And we're going to help heal the planet after all these times, after the birth pains of this new age is over. We will be healing it, and we'll be healing it together, the ones that are holding the love and the light.
And it's going to be a really beautiful thing. It's going to be curious to walk through it. I'm more into the journey and what is it going to look like to overcome this obstacle and that obstacle. I think now is a really good time to journal things, because there's going to be so many changes, physically too, not just to society, but physically we're going to have changes, and our abilities are getting stronger. And, this can create changes in hormones and stuff. It can make us different people.
Most definitely. So I want to thank everybody for your support as always. If you're so inclined, jump over to Patreon, and we do appreciate it. It keeps us going with all the obvious censorship and the first channel being demonetized, and also all the support we've been getting on Ko-Fi. Anybody that needs energy healing, just reach out. We operate totally on a donations basis, because we don't want money to ever get in the way of healing or anything that you need. And ultimately, we're going to have a new system in place at some point. And, we trust that we'll all be provided for. You just have to trust in spirit, trust in God, trust in source, and we'll build trust in each other as we move forward into this new era.
And it's going to be a really fun time. God bless and namaste.
God bless, guys. Namaste.